We're hitting these stouts now with this pistachio and walnut Baclava milk stout coming in at 9.5%. What's this one going to like? It's surely going to be sweet, but how sweet? Check out the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing this beer. This is called Barack Oklava, you know, a bit of a play on words, of Barack Obama. This is from the Brew York, and it is 9.5%. It's an Imperial Stout. So, pistachio, we know what pistachio is. Walnut, we know what a walnut is. Baclava, you know, some people may not know what that is. I mean, Baclava is a Turkish, certainly Middle Eastern type of really buttery, sweet pastry, basically. You can get them in places like Lidl. I know they do them quite well. It's an Imperial milk stout, opposed to being just an Imperial stout. I'm not sure why it makes it a milk stout. 9.5%, so it's quite strong, but I'm expecting it to be really, really sweet. So let's get this beer out and see what it's like. So, you know, we're rocking these dark beers here. So let's get the beer into a glass and see what it's like. Okay, so beer in a glass. I've poured it pretty badly, so we've got about 15 finger head. You know, we've got a 3 finger head there, quite black. You can see the levels of carbonation, you know, the bubbles that are sort of sticking there to the glass. Obviously, you know, we've got a tan. The head's a tan head. It's quite sort of compact. It looks like a sort of, you know, it looks like a coffee, basically. Very jet black. Let's get some aromas. Now, I'm a bit disappointed because, you know, with all those sort of flavours, I expected a real big aroma, but, you know, when you compare it with the Zygote that we had a little while ago, or it was probably a few days ago, that had real strong aromas. This one's there's nothing there. You've got a slight nuttiness, you know, from that walnut and pistachio, but you're not getting real sweetness that you get from the Baclava. I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest, with the aromas. I expected a lot more. 9.5%, so it's got no excuse that it's a sort of a lower ABV beer. So let's see what it tastes like, shall we? Cheers, everyone. That's not nice. It's so sweet, it's like saccharine. It's really, really sweet. So it's got quite... So I'm going in again because that initial sweetness is always made me feel a little bit sick. It's very soft. And even though there was, you know, the head on it, I mean, even now, you know, the head hasn't really sort of... It's moved down a little bit, but it's still quite there. It almost tastes like it has a nitro, that it's very, very soft and smooth to drink, very creamy. There's a sort of undertone of coffee, and then there's a sweetness there, and there is a sort of milkiness as well, you know, a milky sort of sweetness. So it almost is like a you know, like a, I mean, obviously I'll say like a milk stout because it is a milk stout, but it almost tastes like it's got a milkiness to it, and that reduces any bitterness. No bitterness in there. There is some sort of nuttiness that's trying to escape, but it's quite difficult to really pick out because that sort of, it is like a real artificial sweetness, like a saccharine. It's really, really, really sweet, but not a sugary sort of way, just in a very artificial way. Yeah, I mean, there's a sweetness and a real sort of milky creaminess about it, but that really does mask some of the sort of nuttiness about it. It doesn't taste like Baclava. I mean, yes, it's sweet, but it has that real butteriness that's really sort of you know, that really sort of distincts it as a Baclava opposed to any other sort of pastry. That real overly use of lots and lots of butter in the pastry. You get that creaminess from the milkiness of it, and I think that is trying to create that Baclava sort of flavour. But you're not getting the pistachio. you're getting a subtleness of nut, but you couldn't really say, oh yeah, that's a pistachio nut or a walnut, obviously without reading the can. Let's see if the can says anything else about it. It's a big, sticky and sweet baklava-inspired imperial pastry stout with huge flavours of pistachio, walnut and orange blossom. I'm going in again. Let's see if we can get any of that. I hate it when I read stuff like that and then I think, oh yeah, can I get a bit of orange in there? Where I'm sure the can is telling my brain that you're getting some orange, and then that converts to and then I say that I get an orange. But there is a little bit of a floralness about it. But again, that sweetness is so overpowering. It almost like it just masks, it just blasts out all those other flavours. And I'm really struggling to get that pistachio taste in there, that nuttiness. It's there, but it's so, it's so, in the background. What else does it say? Yeah, I mean, obviously orange blossom, inspired by a legend from another dignified time in the US politics, obviously Barack Oklava, brewed with Connor and the team from the Beer Hawk bar in Leeds to mark their first birthday. It's a bit different. What's it got in it? It's got CTZ T90 hops, which is a bit strange. It's got pale, flaked barley, crystal malts, chocolate crystal, caramels, caca aromatic. Yeah, I mean it's certainly. I mean, it says it's five on the nutty rating. It's difficult to get those nuttiness about it. It's got a lovely mouthfeel though, I must say. That sort of, and it's got that creamy milkiness about it, and the carbon. Even though the head has gone down, but look at the lacing of the glass as it's gone down. It's almost got no carbonation. You saw those bubbles on there, but when you taste it, you're not getting that carbonation, which is in its favour, because there's nothing worse than having a stout that's fizzy. For me, it just ruins it. Lovely mouthfeel, and actually now I'm getting used to it. I've had a few mouthfuls of it. The sweetness that's obviously there is starting to sort of, whether my palate is just getting used to that sweetness now, so it's not so overpowering. But I remember the first taste I had of that, it was like, ooh, it's as if someone put too many sugars in your tea. You get that sort of reaction, just not used to it, and that certainly was what I was getting with that. So it's going down a little bit, but it's not being replaced with anything. It's quite easy drinking, and which is a worry for 9.5%. Sweet, creamy, milky. That's the best description, with a very subtle nutty sort of undertow, but whether you can make out whether it's pistachio nuts or walnuts or just a slightly nutty taste. It's not bad. Would I try it again? Probably not. Again, it's another one of those sort of one-off drinks that you drink once and go, yep, I've had that. It's almost like you're ticking a box. Oh yeah, I've had one of those. Yeah, those nutty milk pistachio baklava stouts. Yeah, they were quite interesting. But would I want to do it again? No, not really. It's a bit too sweet for me, and I do like sweet things. Maybe again, it's a sort of beer that you want to have with a sweet. Maybe that would just sort of, maybe they'll balance each other out. I'm not sure. But let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Barack Oklava, a milk imperial stout, which is pistachio and walnut baklava flavour, inspired by. It's an interesting one. This one I actually got free this month, because I made an order with Craft Metropolis. Check them out, craftmetropolis.co.uk. They're my go-to for getting beers through the post. Great service, next day delivery. If you spend, I think it's over 60 quid, you get free postage, and then you also get points for every beer that you buy, so you can then knock that off into pounds on your next order. I think it works pretty well. They've got a good selection of, got a great selection, in fact, of beers, and and they're reasonably priced, you know, in terms of finding those beers in other places. I think they're a bit cheaper than some of the other big sort of online bottle shops. So anyway, back to this beer. It looks quite nice. I mean, it's nice and black, but let's go for the aroma first. Yeah, I'm still a little bit disappointed. You know, it wasn't as some stouts you smell the aroma and it just, you know, you can indulge yourself in that aroma for you know, a few minutes and really enjoy it. But for this, I thought it was a bit lacking on aroma. It's 9.5%, so it's not as if it's a sort of low alcohol. Where I think the lower alcohol stouts, they don't usually have the, you know, the big sort of pungent, strong aromas, and that goes the same with any sort of craft beer, really. So a bit disappointed. I wasn't getting that baklava sort of aroma. I wasn't getting the sweetness, or I wasn't getting the nuttiness from it. So a little bit disappointed. It just seemed a bit nothingness really to that aroma. So I can only give it 10 out of 20 for aroma. Appearance though, it scores quite highly. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Looks the part. We've got a lovely little fluffy tan head, and it's jet black in its appearance. It looks pretty good at 8 out of 10. Flavour wise, it's a difficult one, this, because it was, when I first tasted it, it was so sweet that it almost, you know, it ruined that experience. When the sweetness sort of went away, and your palate got used to that sweetness, it started to taste a bit better. Certainly had a really lovely mouthfeel to it. Really sort of soft, creamy, milky. I mean, it's a milk stout. Very low levels of carbonation, which is great for a stout. So that bit was good. But the flavours, it was very sweet. And I didn't really... You've got to really search for any sort of nuttiness, let alone picking out walnut and pistachio. I mean, you know, I know what they taste like, and to me, it just had a slight nuttiness to it, and that was about it. So I was a bit disappointed with that. But overall, I've got to mark it down really just because it's too sweet. It's just really, really sweet. So I'm giving it 29 for flavour. It's not going to be one of my favourite stouts. Value for money though, well, I mean, obviously I said it was free, so it should really get 10 out of 10, but I looked up the price and it's about £4.50, which isn't bad for a 9.5% stout. So I'm giving it 8 out of 10 for value. And then my overall experience, well, it's too sweet. I'm probably not going to finish this can. I'm going to have one more taste just to, yeah. Really, really sweet. I mean, we've had sweet stouts before. We've had chocolate, caramel, choc chip. We've had, we've had a few chocolatey sort of flavour. Layer cake we've had chocolate flavoured stouts before. This isn't chocolate, but it's so sweet, and it's very artificial sweet. So I won't want to drink. I'm not going to drink the whole lot of that. It's too much. If it was a smaller can, it would be better, half the price. But it's too much, too sweet. Not getting enough nuttiness. I can gladly say, yeah, I've tried that, and I'm not going to really want to try it again. So I can only give it 10 out of 20 for my overall experience. You know, some people, if they like really, really sweet, nice mouthfeel stouts, you'd probably like it. You know, maybe some people, maybe if I let it settle a bit more. I mean, it's been out of the fridge a couple of hours, so the flavour should be spot on. But I'm not getting those pistachio and walnut, or that sort of baklava. I mean, it is very, very sweet, and I'm sure I've said that about a million times now. Really sweet. So if you like really sweet things, you might get enjoyment from it. So 10 out of 20 for overall experience. Tighten those scores up, we get a 65 out of 100. It's a Bon Jovi beer. It's not quite a really bad Bon Jovi song though. It's not like his Fairy Tale of New York cover, which, you know, if you see it, don't listen to it because it could ruin that really great song. He does a terrible cover of that. It's not that bad though. It's not as bad as that. That would be a 60 out of 100 would be that one. But it's still too sweet. So 65 out of 100. It's a Bon Jovi. Bland? No. Sweet? Yes. I mean, it could be the rock band Sweet, couldn't it? Because that's what it is. Really, really sweet. So I've whittled on enough. I'm probably going to have a little break from the stouts for now. And until the next one, Happy New Year, wherever you are in the world, and keep on rocking.